Silent confidence is the most powerful form of confidence because it does not need volume, attention, or approval. It is felt, not spoken. Loud confidence tries to prove something, but silent confidence already knows. It is the way you enter a room without shrinking, the way you speak without rushing, the way you stand without folding into yourself, the way you move like you do not need permission to exist. Most people think confidence is about talking a lot, being loud, being funny, or being the center of attention. But true confidence is the opposite. It's calm, controlled, and unbothered. When someone has silent confidence, their presence hits before their words do. You feel it when they walk by. You feel it when they look at you. You feel it in the way they sit, the way they listen, the way they breathe. There is no desperation, no need to impress, no desperation for approval. They do not try to dominate the room, they become the gravity of the room. Silent confidence comes from two things: self-control and self-respect. When you control your emotions, your reactions, your tempo, your voice, your attention, you show the world you are not easily shaken. When you respect yourself, you do not chase validation or force conversations. You move with certainty, knowing that the right people will gravitate toward you naturally. Most people destroy their confidence because they try too hard. They force jokes, force smiles, force conversations, force reactions, trying to be liked. And the harder they try, the weaker they appear. Silent confidence is effortless because it is not performance, it is identity. It starts with body language. Your body speaks before your voice ever does. A person with silent confidence stands tall, shoulders relaxed, head up, breathing slow. They make eye contact without staring. They speak slowly without rushing. They listen without fidgeting. They move without hesitation. Their calmness is what makes them intimidating. Nervous people move fast, talk fast, shift constantly, laugh awkwardly, and stare at the floor. Confident people take their time. Their slowness is not laziness, it is control. They're not rushing to please anyone. They're not scared of silence. Silence is where insecure people break. A silent, confident person can sit in a room without saying a word and still hold presence, because presence is created by awareness, not noise. The second part of silent confidence is emotional neutrality. Insecure people react to everything. One insult and they explode. One disagreement and they panic. One awkward moment and they melt inside. But a silent, confident person remains calm. They are never easily offended, never desperate to prove they are right, never bothered by someone else's attitude. They know who they are, so no opinion can shake them. When someone tries to provoke them, they stay collected. When someone tries to embarrass them, they stay composed. That is why silent, confident people win without fighting. They frustrate the insecure, they confuse the fake, they make loud people feel small without saying anything. The third part of silent confidence is not needing attention. Most people are addicted to attention because they have nothing else. They need applause, compliments, likes, validation, conversation, or praise to feel valuable. A silently confident person does not chase any of it. They value themselves whether the room notices them or not. This makes them rare, and rarity creates attraction. People are drawn to what they cannot control. When you are unbothered by attention, you become someone others want attention from. The fourth part of silent confidence is being unpredictable. Loud people are predictable. They brag, they defend themselves, they overshare, they seek approval, they react emotionally. Silent confidence keeps people guessing. You do not reveal everything. You do not explain every move. You do not broadcast your plans. Mystery is a form of power. People cannot judge what they cannot understand. People cannot attack what they cannot predict. When your life is private, when your intentions are secret, when your goals are silent, you move like a shadow, quiet, focused, effective. The fifth part of silent confidence is being self-sufficient. When you can entertain yourself, enjoy your own company, succeed without applause, grow without validation, you become untouchable. Neediness kills confidence, independence builds it. A person who does not need anyone is someone everyone wants. When you are fine by yourself, when solitude feels peaceful instead of painful, when your identity does not crumble without social attention, you become powerful internally. You no longer lower your standards for friendships or relationships. You do not chase people who walk away. You do not beg anyone to stay. You don't fear losing people because you never lost yourself. Silent confidence also shows in small choices. You do not brag, you do not gossip, you do not insult, you do not show off. These behaviors expose insecurity. A confident person uplifts themselves by leveling up, not tearing others down. When you are truly confident, you don't need to say you are. Your presence says it. And the beautiful part about silent confidence is this: anyone can build it. It is not genetic, it is not personality, it is not reserved for good-looking or popular people. It is built through discipline, routine, self-respect, self-improvement, and experience. When you work on yourself quietly, your aura changes. When you train your body, your posture changes. When you learn new skills, your eyes change. When you survive hardships, your voice changes. When you keep promises to yourself, your energy changes. When you grow mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, people feel it before you speak. Silent confidence is just visible self-improvement. Want presence? Fix your posture, your hygiene, your grooming, your voice, your breathing, your habits. Want respect? Respect yourself first. Want people to notice? Stop trying to make them notice. Build yourself so well that ignoring you becomes impossible. And one day, without trying, you will walk into a room and something strange will happen. People will turn their heads, conversations will pause, strangers will look twice. Not because you shouted, not because you demanded attention, but because confidence radiates without sound. You will become the kind of person who speaks less but means more, who listens more but understands deeper, who looks calm while others panic, who stays focused while others get distracted, who stays grounded while others crumble. Your silence will become statements. Your presence will become proof. Your identity will become strength. And you will finally understand what true confidence feels like. Not loud, not dramatic, not ego-driven, but powerful, calm, deep, and unshakable.
Pain changes people, but it does not always destroy them. Sometimes pain is the only force powerful enough to burn the weaker version of you to the ground so the stronger version can rise in its place. And the truth is, every great transformation begins with discomfort. People wait for perfect moments, perfect motivation, perfect circumstances, but most greatness is born from suffering. The heartbreak that shattered you, the failure that humbled you, the loss that broke you, the loneliness that forced you to face yourself. Pain introduces you to the real you. When everything is easy, you never grow. When everything is calm, you never question who you are. But when life hits you with something you didn't ask for and never expected, you are forced to rebuild. And in that rebuilding, you discover strength you didn't know you had. People think strong individuals were always confident, always brave, always disciplined. But the strongest ones were once broken, insecure, uncertain, and full of fear. The difference is simple. They refused to stay that way. They turned their pain into discipline, their anger into ambition, their heartbreak into focus, their loneliness into independence. They didn't numb the pain, they used it. Pain is fuel if you refuse to let it be poison. Every time you work through pain instead of running from it, you evolve. Pain sharpens your mind the way fire sharpens steel. It teaches you who is real and who is temporary. It teaches you what matters and what never did. It teaches you that you don't need approval, you don't need permission, and you don't need anyone to hold your hand. It teaches you that when the world is silent, you can still rise. And when you come out on the other side, nothing scares you anymore. Not judgment, not failure, not being alone, not starting from zero. The people who fear nothing are the people who survived everything. One day you will realize the pain you hated was the reason you became powerful, and the suffering you cursed was the reason you became wise. All the doors that closed were directing you to better ones. All the people who left were clearing space for greater ones. All the failures that embarrassed you were preparing you for the day you succeed so loudly that the world can't ignore you. Nothing you went through was wasted. Every tear was training. Every setback was shaping you. Every lonely night was building you into someone rare. And when you finally rise, the world will think it happened suddenly. They won't see the nights you spent trying not to quit. They won't see the mornings where you could barely move but still showed up. They won't see the battles you fought inside your own mind. They won't see the pain you carried alone because no one else could understand it. But you will know. You will know every ounce of strength you earned. You will know every scar you turned into armor. You will know every time the world hit you and you didn't fall. You will know you became someone that nothing can break. And that is the greatest victory of all. Not money, not fame, not applause, but becoming the type of person who survives anything and still grows. And so this is the final truth. Stop caring what people think because they did not survive your pain. Stop dimming yourself to fit into small minds. Stop apologizing for wanting more. Stop letting opinions control your life. You were not born to blend in. You were born to rise. You were not given pain to break you. You were given pain to build you. You are capable of becoming someone you haven't even met yet. You can rebuild your mind. You can rebuild your habits. You can rebuild your confidence. You can rebuild your life. Nothing is final until you accept defeat, and you are not done, not even close. The world has no idea what you're becoming. Quietly, silently, painfully, powerfully, you are changing. You are learning. You are getting sharper. You are getting stronger. You are outgrowing everything that kept you small. And the day will come where you look back and thank yourself for not giving up. Thank yourself for choosing growth over comfort. Thank yourself for choosing discipline over excuses. Thank yourself for your future over your past. You will understand that every moment of suffering was a stepping stone. Every judgment was meaningless. Every failure was training. And every ounce of pain was turning you into someone unstoppable. So walk forward with your head high. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Just build silently, work relentlessly, evolve continuously, live boldly. Because one day, the world will watch you rise and wonder how you did it, and all you will say is, I stopped caring what they thought, and I started becoming who I was meant to be.
Everyone wants confidence, but almost no one understands how it is actually built, because people are taught to believe confidence is something you either naturally have or don't, something that only belongs to the loud, the extroverted, the talented, the successful, or the lucky. But the truth is, confidence is a skill, a habit, a muscle that begins tiny and weak and slowly becomes powerful every time you force yourself to do the things you are scared of. Most people never develop confidence because they are waiting for permission to feel ready, waiting for approval to start, waiting for signs that it is the right moment. But confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence comes after. And the only reason confident people exist is because they were willing to look stupid, awkward, unskilled, and inexperienced long enough to grow past it. Confidence is built in the dark, away from applause, away from validation, away from praise, in moments where you doubt yourself but keep going anyway, in the gym when you feel small, in the mirror when you don't like your reflection, in the classroom when you're afraid to raise your hand, in conversations where your voice shakes, in every attempt where your mind whispers, "Stop, you're not ready," but you ignore it and take the step anyway. Confidence is the accumulation of small victories that no one sees, the quiet promise you make to yourself that you won't quit, and the act of keeping that promise every time you feel weak. It starts the moment you decide you are done letting fear control your life, because fear tries to protect you by lying to you. It tells you people are watching, judging, laughing, analyzing your every flaw. But the truth is, almost no one cares because everyone is too busy worrying about themselves, their insecurities, their mistakes, their fears, their failures. Your mind invented an audience that does not exist. Once you understand this, confidence becomes easier because you realize the thing you feared was imaginary. You can walk into a room without shrinking. You can speak without waiting for approval. You can try new things without needing to be perfect. Every time you push back against fear, confidence grows. Every time you break your own limitations, confidence grows. Every time you choose progress over comfort, confidence grows. And you don't need to take huge steps. Confidence begins with small decisions that build self-respect. Waking up when you said you would, finishing tasks you promise yourself, training when you feel lazy, studying when your brain tries to quit, speaking honestly instead of hiding your personality. Confidence is not born from results. It is born from effort, discipline, and self-trust. When you trust yourself, you do not need anyone else to believe in you. Real confidence is quiet. It does not need to announce itself. It shows in your posture, your eyes, your calm, your ability to walk forward without hesitation, even when the path is uncertain. People think confidence means you never feel nervous, but real confidence means you move forward despite being nervous, because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision that fear will not win. People also think confidence is loud, but loud people are often the most insecure, hiding behind volume so nobody notices their doubts. Quiet confidence is stronger because it cannot be shaken by opinions or rejection. You don't chase validation. Validation comes naturally to those who don't need it. And the fastest way to build this kind of confidence is by doing the things you're scared of. Speak even if your voice trembles. Walk into the gym even if you feel judged. Post your work even if you fear mockery. Start the business even if no one believes in it. Ask the question even if it makes you nervous. Try the skill even if you look unskilled. Confidence grows every time you survive the situation that fear told you would destroy you. And once you survive it once, your brain learns something revolutionary. I can handle more. That's how confidence is built, one uncomfortable moment at a time. You will feel embarrassed, but embarrassment doesn't kill you. You will make mistakes, but mistakes teach you. You will fail, but failure shapes you. Every person who is confident today was once insecure, shy, uncertain, and afraid, but they kept going while others quit. That is the difference. Successful people are not fearless. They are simply unwilling to let fear decide their future. Confidence requires you to stop waiting for perfection and start practicing progress. You build confidence by becoming dangerous, by gaining skills, knowledge, discipline, strength, and self-awareness. When you know you can rely on yourself, you stop needing approval from anyone else. Confidence also comes from keeping promises you make to yourself. When you tell yourself you will wake up early, and you do, your brain learns to trust you. When you say you will improve and you take action, your brain trusts you. When you say you will quit a bad habit and you follow through, your brain trusts you. When your brain trusts you, confidence becomes automatic. Low confidence comes from breaking promises to yourself over and over until you no longer believe your own words. And you don't need a crowd to cheer for you, you need your own mind to believe you. That belief is the core of confidence. Then there is the external battlefield, people's opinions. Most people lack confidence because they're terrified of being judged, but judgment never goes away. If you do nothing, people judge you. If you work hard, people judge you. If you succeed, people judge louder. The goal is not to escape judgment. The goal is to stop caring about it. People are allowed to misunderstand you, doubt you, dislike you, criticize you. None of that has the power to stop you unless you surrender to it. When you truly understand that opinions cannot touch you, confidence erupts inside you like a flame. You start taking risks others are scared to take. You start showing up in places you used to avoid.
You stop apologizing for your goals, your personality, your voice, your ambition. Confidence is not about being better than others. It's about being better than the version of yourself that used to hide. Real confidence means you do not need to win every time. You just need to show up every time. And here's the part no one tells you. Confidence is earned in private, but recognized in public. You will spend weeks, months, or years improving while no one notices. But when the results become undeniable, everyone will start calling you confident, gifted, lucky, chosen, special, when the truth is you built every inch of that confidence with repetition and pain. Confidence is not magic. It is not talent. It is not genetics. It is the result of doing what weak versions of yourself refused to do. You want confidence? Start small. Do the uncomfortable thing. Practice even when you're bad. Speak even when you're afraid. Finish what you start. Keep promises. Learn. Grow. Fail forward. Refuse to quit. If you do this, confidence won't be a dream. It will be your identity. One day you will look back and realize the version of you that was scared to speak, scared to try, scared to be seen, scared to be judged, no longer exists. You killed that weakness with action and built a stronger version in its place. That is confidence. Not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it.
Social confidence does not come from being the funniest, the smartest, the most attractive, or the most experienced person in the room. Social confidence comes from understanding that you do not need to earn space. You already have the right to exist anywhere you stand. Most people look nervous in social situations, not because others are judging them, but because they are judging themselves in their own head. When you walk into a room worried about how you look, how you sound, whether you belong, whether you are being watched, you create anxiety out of thin air. But if you walked into that exact same room thinking about your goals, your plans, your mission, you would feel no fear at all. Social confidence is not about learning how to impress strangers. It is about learning how not to fear them. The truth is this: most people are too focused on their own insecurities to care about yours. They worry if they look confident, if their outfit is good, if their voice sounds weird, if people are noticing their flaws. You think the world is staring at you, but everyone is too busy staring at themselves. Once you realize this, the fear of rejection dissolves. You begin talking without rehearsing what to say. You begin walking without overthinking where to look. You begin introducing yourself without waiting for permission. Social confidence grows when you stop trying to be interesting and instead become interested. Ask questions, listen well, stay calm, and know that silence is not dangerous. People fear awkwardness, but awkwardness is only created when you become desperate to avoid it. If a conversation slows down, breathe. If someone doesn't respond how you expected, continue speaking naturally. Confidence is not about controlling the reaction. Confidence is about staying comfortable regardless of the reaction. And the fastest way to build social confidence is to put yourself into situations that scare you. You must expose yourself to conversations, greetings, eye contact, public speaking, asking for help, sharing opinions, and meeting new people. At first, your mind will panic, but repetition kills fear. Every time you enter a social situation that once terrified you, you steal power from anxiety and give it to confidence instead. You learn that your voice does not break you, your appearance does not define you, and your mistakes do not ruin you. You learn that stumbling over a word is not a tragedy, forgetting a sentence is not humiliation, and disagreement is not rejection. People respect honesty more than perfection. If you speak imperfectly but genuinely, people trust you. If you speak perfectly but fake, people feel it. Authenticity is confidence. When you are unfiltered, unforced, unapologetic, people feel your energy.
They respond to your presence, not your performance. Many socially anxious people memorize lines, rehearse answers, plan jokes, try to be smooth, but the pressure destroys them. Confidence is the opposite. It is spontaneous, relaxed, flexible, calm. And here is the truth. Socially confident people do not always say the right thing. They simply do not punish themselves for saying the wrong thing. Their mind stays free, while yours attacks you. Confidence is self-forgiveness in real time. When you mess up, laugh and move forward. When you mispronounce something, keep talking. When someone does not like you, let them walk. You don't lose confidence when other people judge you. You lose confidence when you judge yourself harder than they ever could. Stop being your own bully. Speak to yourself like someone you want to protect, not someone you want to destroy. And do not underestimate the power of posture, eye contact, and tone. Your body teaches your mind how to feel. If you stand tall, breathe deeply, speak slowly, look people in the eyes, your brain believes you are in control even if you feel nervous inside. The body leads, the confidence follows. That is why socially strong people don't rush their words, don't avoid eye contact, don't shrink their voice. They take space naturally without forcing it. And when you begin training your body to project strength, your mind eventually adapts. Another key to social confidence is understanding that rejection is not personal. If someone ignores you, judges you, laughs, rejects your idea, or doesn't want to talk, it does not mean you are unworthy. It means they are not your people. You will not connect with everyone, and you are not supposed to. Even the most charismatic, loved, powerful people on earth are disliked by someone. If you live trying to avoid rejection, you will stay silent forever. But if you accept rejection as a normal part of life, you become unstoppable. Every rejection becomes redirection. You keep moving until you find people who match your energy. And confidence becomes unbreakable when you realize you only need one thing to belong in any room: yourself. Not approval, not permission, not perfection, just presence. Another important truth: confident people do not chase. They don't chase friendships, attention, validation, or acceptance. They give energy to those who return it. They walk away from disrespect immediately. They do not argue for their value. They do not beg for loyalty. They do not force people to like them. Their mentality is simple: if I am not appreciated, I remove myself. This kind of self-respect changes everything. People treat you how you treat yourself. If you act like you do not deserve space, people will shrink you. If you act like you must entertain others to be accepted, people will use you. If you act like silence is weakness, people will dominate you. But if you move with self-value, speak with calm confidence, and hold your standards like steel, people recognize you as someone who cannot be controlled. That is the energy of someone socially strong, not loud, not aggressive, but unshakable. And one day, you will notice the shift. You will stop overthinking how you appear and start thinking about whether you even want to be around certain people. You will stop wondering if others like you and start asking whether you like them. You will stop walking into rooms hoping to impress and start walking into rooms as the most authentic version of yourself. You will speak without fear, listen without insecurity, and stand without shrinking. And the same people who once seemed intimidating will feel normal, because confidence changes how you see the world. When you were insecure, every social situation felt like a threat. When you become confident, every social situation becomes an opportunity. And the beautiful part is that no one will see the invisible fight you went through to get here. They will only see the calm, the presence, the ease, the confidence, and they will assume you were born with it. They will say, you are naturally confident, naturally charismatic, naturally bold. But you will know the truth. You earned it. You built it from scratch. You fought for it every time you wanted to stay silent but spoke anyway. Every time you wanted to hide but showed up anyway. Every time fear screamed but you moved forward anyway. Confidence is not a gift. It is a journey. And once you have it, nobody can take it from you.
Rebuilding your life from zero is not a punishment. It is an opportunity. Because starting from nothing means you have nothing left to lose and everything left to build. And the most powerful version of a human being is created when they reach a point where excuses die, comfort disappears, and survival mode transforms into purpose. Most people fear starting over because they are attached to the person they were. But if who you were was capable of building the life you want, you would already have it. So the moment you accept that your past self is no longer enough is the moment growth begins. Rebuilding yourself means you stop living on autopilot and start living with intention. You stop letting circumstances define you and start defining yourself. You stop waiting for someone to save you and start saving yourself. And the process is not glamorous in the beginning. It is quiet, uncomfortable, lonely, and often painful. People think transformation looks like motivation and excitement, but real transformation looks like waking up tired and doing it anyway, feeling lost but moving anyway, failing publicly and trying again anyway. When you rebuild from zero, you learn who you really are, not the version of you that pretended to be confident, not the version shaped by other people's expectations, but the version that rises when everything falls apart. The first stage of rebuilding is destruction. You must destroy old habits, old identities, old comfort zones, old excuses, old environments, old friendships that keep you small. You cannot build a new life with the same patterns that ruined the last one. Growth requires sacrifice, fewer late nights, fewer distractions, fewer dopamine addictions, fewer empty conversations. If it does not make you stronger, smarter, richer, calmer, or wiser, it no longer belongs in your life. It will hurt to let go. Your mind will cling to familiarity, but familiar is not the same as good. The life you want will demand a new version of you, and the price of becoming that person is simple. Everything that kept you average must die. The second stage of rebuilding is discipline. People romanticize success, but run from discipline, not realizing discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. Discipline means doing what is necessary, not what is easy. It means training when tired, learning when bored, working when unmotivated, and staying focused when lonely. It means choosing long-term respect over short-term pleasure. You will have days where you doubt yourself, days where progress feels invisible, days where your mind tells you to quit, but discipline is doing it anyway. Every day you stay consistent, even a little, your future becomes heavier than your past. The third stage of rebuilding is skill. You do not rise by hoping, you rise by becoming valuable. Learn something, build something, study relentlessly, read books, train your body, practice a craft. If you want a different life, you must have different abilities. Skills create confidence. Skills create money. Skills create independence. The world may ignore you today, but it cannot ignore excellence forever. The fourth stage is silence. Do not announce your rebuilding. Do not explain your plans. Do not seek validation. Work quietly, build quietly, improve quietly. People will notice when it is time. Talking drains energy. Silence invests it. When no one knows what you are doing, no one can sabotage it. No one can discourage you, and no one can judge you before you are ready. Privacy is a weapon. The fifth stage is isolation.
Not because loneliness is fun, but because greatness is born in solitude. When you are alone, you face your demons. You confront your weaknesses, you learn discipline without an audience, you grow without applause. Most people cannot handle solitude because it forces them to face themselves. But if you can sit alone without distraction, you become mentally bulletproof. The sixth stage is identity. You must decide who you are becoming. Not wish, not dream, decide. Your identity shapes your habits, and your habits shape your future. Tell yourself, I am disciplined, I am focused, I am dangerous, I am building myself. Your brain will resist at first, but repetition rewires reality. Speak to yourself like someone you are becoming, not someone you used to be. The seventh stage is pressure. When you rebuild, life will test you. People will doubt you, judge you, laugh, ignore you, or say you've changed. Good. You are supposed to change. Pressure creates diamonds. If it were easy, everyone would evolve. Difficulty is not a sign to quit, it is proof you are on the right path. The eighth stage is emotional control. During rebuilding, emotions will try to destroy you. Anxiety, insecurity, frustration, self-doubt, jealousy, they will all scream louder than logic. But emotions are temporary. Discipline is permanent. If you learn to act independently of how you feel, you become unstoppable. Low-value people obey emotions. High-value people obey goals. The ninth stage is consistency, not intensity. Anyone can be motivated for a week. Rebuilding requires consistency for months or years. You don't need to change your whole life in one day. You need to show up every day. Small progress compounds into massive transformation. High standards applied daily will change everything. One gym session will not change your body. One book will not change your mind. One day of discipline will not change your life. But 100 days will. 365 days will, and people will call it a miracle, not realizing it was discipline. The 10th stage is transformation. One day you will wake up and your mind will feel different, your body will feel different, your perspective will feel different. You will outgrow friends, conversations, habits, and environments that once felt comfortable. You will carry yourself differently. Speak differently, walk differently. You won't chase, beg, explain, or defend. When someone disrespects you, you will walk away. When life gets hard, you will not break, you will adapt. When fear whispers, you will move anyway. This is the moment where you realize you rebuilt not just your situation, but your identity, your psychology, your future. And the world will respond, opportunities will appear, people will notice your growth, doors that were closed will open. But the greatest reward of rebuilding is not success, it is self-respect. You will look in the mirror and respect the person staring back. You will trust yourself, you will rely on yourself. You will know that no matter what happens, you can come back stronger because you have done it before. That is true confidence, not arrogance, not loudness, but the quiet knowledge that you cannot be destroyed by life because you know how to rebuild. A powerful human is not someone who never falls. A powerful human is someone who rises every time they do. Rebuilding from zero is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of your evolution. One day, everything you lost will be replaced by something better. One day, the pain that broke you will become the motivation that drives you. One day, you will thank yourself for not quitting. And when that day comes, you will understand the truth. Starting from zero was not a punishment. It was a gift, a chance to become someone stronger, smarter, sharper, wiser, calmer, and infinitely more powerful than the person you were before.
Overthinking is the silent killer of confidence, success, and peace, because it traps you inside a prison made entirely of thoughts that never become actions, fears that never become real, and imaginary scenarios that never actually happen. And most people don't even realize they are destroying their own life because the prison is comfortable and familiar, so they stay inside it like a bird that forgot it has wings. Overthinking makes simple things heavy and small problems huge. It creates anxiety out of thin air, and it convinces you that disaster is hiding behind every decision. You replay conversations in your head, analyze every expression, replay every mistake, assume everyone remembers your embarrassment, but the world has already moved on while you're stuck in a loop of self-doubt. And the worst part is that overthinking feels productive, even though it never changes anything. Your brain tricks you into believing that thinking more will protect you, prepare you, or predict the future. But in reality, overthinking only delays action, kills confidence, and turns opportunities into regrets. To kill overthinking, you must understand something most people never learn. Your brain is not always telling you the truth. Your mind creates stories based on fear, not reality, and fear exaggerates everything. You worry about being judged, but people aren't watching. You worry about failing, but failure is a teacher. You worry about what could go wrong, but you never consider what could go right. Overthinking is just fear wearing a logical mask. The only cure is action. Action destroys doubt. Action silences fear. Action gives the brain proof that the nightmare in your head was just imagination. If you want to break out of overthinking, you must start doing before you feel ready. Send the message, start the project, join the gym, speak up, take the opportunity. Your brain will scream, but once you act, everything calms down. You realize the thing you were terrified of wasn't deadly, wasn't humiliating, wasn't life-ending. Your survival kills the fear. Overthinking disappears when the mind has real experiences instead of imagined disasters. The second way to kill overthinking is to realize that thinking is only useful when it leads to decisions. Overthinkers believe they will eventually arrive at the perfect choice, but the perfect choice does not exist. Life rewards the ones who choose and adjust, not the ones who think and stall. Confidence comes from making decisions with limited information and trusting yourself to adapt. Every time you make a decision fast, you train your brain to stop feeding you endless overanalysis. Quick choices create mental strength. Slow minds drown in doubt. The third key to destroying overthinking is accepting imperfection. People overthink because they are terrified of making a mistake, being judged, or looking stupid. But perfection is a fantasy that keeps people frozen. You are supposed to make mistakes. Mistakes are progress. Mistakes are data. Mistakes are growth. If you never make mistakes, you will stay the same person forever. The moment you stop chasing perfect outcomes, you free yourself to act. You don't need perfect words to speak. You don't need perfect skills to start. You don't need perfect confidence to show up. Starting messy is better than staying stuck. The fourth way to end overthinking is to stop caring about outcomes you cannot control. People drive themselves insane thinking about what others think, what might happen, what could go wrong, but their control ends at their effort, not the result. When your focus is on effort, your mind is calm. When your focus is on outcomes, your mind panics. Detach from outcomes and attach to action. Act because it's the right move, not because you need a perfect result. When you do this, resistance dies, overthinking disappears. The fifth way to beat overthinking is to treat your mind like a tool, not a master. The mind is a servant. It is supposed to take commands, not give them. When your mind tells you to worry, interrupt it. When your mind creates negative scenarios, replace them. When your mind tries to scare you, push through. The mind learns from your behavior. If you obey fear, fear grows. If you ignore fear, fear fades. You must train your brain like you train a muscle, through deliberate effort. The sixth way to destroy overthinking is to live in the present moment. Overthinking is either replaying the past or predicting the future. Neither exists right now. You suffer in your head more than you ever will in reality. The present moment is simple, quiet, and manageable. Focus on what is in front of you, not the ghosts of yesterday or the fantasies of tomorrow. The seventh method is to stay busy with meaningful action. Overthinking grows in empty space. When you sit doing nothing, your mind invents problems to solve. Being unproductive gives your brain too much time to attack itself.
When you work, improve, practice, build, train, your brain is forced to focus on the task. Your mind cannot overthink while your body is moving. A busy life destroys anxiety. The eighth method is building a strong identity. People overthink because they don't know who they are, so they analyze themselves through the imagined opinions of others. But when you know your values, your purpose, and your direction, you stop caring about random thoughts. A strong identity silences insecurity. If someone dislikes you, you shrug. If someone doubts you, you continue. If someone judges you, you ignore it. Why? Because you no longer see yourself through their guise. You only need your own approval. The ninth method is being brutally honest with yourself. Overthinking feels like caution, but it is usually fear in disguise. You tell yourself you are planning, preparing, strategizing, but you are actually avoiding action because action exposes you to failure. If you want to stop overthinking, stop lying to yourself. Admit when you were scared, admit when you are procrastinating, admit when you are hiding. Honesty breaks psychological chains. The 10th and final method is simple. You must live your life instead of watching it. Overthinkers observe their life like spectators, analyzing every move before making it, worrying about every opinion before expressing themselves, asking for permission to breathe. But confidence, progress, greatness all come from participation, not observation. If you want to stop overthinking, you must stop watching and start doing. Talk, move, build, try, create, live. You will fail, you will embarrass yourself, you will learn, you will grow. And eventually, you will transform into someone who no longer fears their own thoughts because action has made you stronger than fear. One day you will look back and wonder why you ever cared so much, why you wasted so much time thinking instead of living, why you believed every anxious thought as if it were the truth, and you will realize all the pain came from imagination, not reality. Reality is always easier than the mind makes it seem. Overthinking dies when life becomes louder than thought. The moment you choose action over hesitation, you are free.
A high-value identity is not something you are born with. It is something you choose to build, piece by piece, decision by decision, habit by habit. Until one day, you look in the mirror and realize you became the type of person you used to admire. And the transformation never comes from luck or destiny. It comes from the moment you decide that the old version of you is no longer allowed to exist. A high-value person does not beg for respect. They carry themselves in a way that demands it without saying a word. They're not desperate for attention, validation, or praise because they know the world pays attention to results, not noise. Value is created through discipline, consistency, self-respect, and direction. Most people drift through life with no standards, no mission, no structure, and that is why they collapse under pressure and depend on others to tell them who they are. But a high-value identity comes from internal strength, not external approval. It comes from choosing character over comfort, purpose over pleasure, growth over ego. The first sign of a high-value identity is emotional control. Anyone can act confident when everything is perfect, but high-value people stay calm under stress, under pressure, under judgment, under rejection. They do not break when life challenges them. They adapt. They do not lash out when insulted. They stay composed. Emotional control makes you powerful because it gives you the advantage in every situation. The person who stays calm controls the outcome. The second sign of a high-value identity is self-respect. A high-value person doesn't tolerate disrespect, manipulation, fake friendships, low standards, or toxic environments. They will walk away, even if it means being alone, because they would rather be alone in peace than surrounded by people who drain their soul. Low-value people cling to anyone who gives them attention. High-value people are selective. They protect their energy like it is gold because they understand energy is currency. Everything you achieve, build, or create comes from the energy inside you, And if you waste it on people who gossip, complain, and remain stagnant, you will have nothing left to invest in yourself. The third sign of a high-value identity is discipline. Discipline is what separates dreams from achievements. You cannot become someone powerful if you cannot even control your own habits. A high-value person trains their mind and body. They read, learn, study, listen, improve. They work on their weaknesses instead of hiding from them. They are humble enough to know they are unfinished, but confident enough to know they can become unstoppable. Every day they push themselves, even when tired, even when unmotivated, because they understand that consistency is more important than motivation. Low-value people quit when it gets hard. High-value people continue because difficulty is part of the journey. The fourth sign of a high-value identity is silence. A low-value person needs everyone to know their plans, their goals, their opinions, their drama, but a high-value person moves quietly. They do not announce their goals, they build them. They do not talk about what they will do, they show what they have done. Silence protects you from jealousy, from doubt, from unnecessary pressure. Power grows in privacy. Every legend was built in silence before the world saw them. The fifth sign is accountability. Low-value people blame everything but themselves. Parents, society, teachers, luck, the economy, their ex, their childhood, everyone but the person in the mirror. High-value people take responsibility for their life. They don't make excuses for failure. They learn. They don't wait for opportunities. They create them. They don't ask who will help them. They ask how they can help themselves. This level of accountability makes them unstoppable, because if you believe your life is in your control, then your future cannot be stolen by circumstances. The sixth sign is purpose. A high-value person does not live like a leaf carried by wind. They live like a ship with a direction. Even if they do not know every step, they know where they are aiming. Purpose makes you disciplined, focused, and dangerous. It removes distractions. It silences self-doubt. It gives you a reason to wake up when the world wants you to sleep. People with no purpose drown in overthinking and insecurity. People with purpose move forward even with fear in their chest. The seventh sign is mastering solitude. Weak people fear being alone because they cannot survive their own thoughts. High-value people use solitude to sharpen themselves. They reflect, plan, heal, grow. They are not desperate for company because their mind is not a hostile place. When you can be alone without feeling empty, you unlock independence. You stop settling for half-love, fake friendships, and shallow validation because you no longer need anyone to fill the silence. The eighth sign of a high-value identity is emotional detachment from opinions. People will always talk. They will judge, gossip, criticize, misunderstand, and invent stories. But a high-value person doesn't bend to public perception. They understand that opinions come from limited knowledge and personal insecurity. They do not waste energy explaining themselves. They do not chase approval. They do not move to please anyone. They live their life with confidence, and those who understand will stay, those who don't will leave. Either way, life continues. The ninth sign is respect for time. Time is the only currency you can never earn back. Low-value people waste time on entertainment, drama, scrolling, gossip, and instant pleasure. High-value people treat time like treasure. They learn, improve, work, build, rest, grow. They do not waste hours on people who contribute nothing to their future. They do not repeat days, they evolve. The 10th sign is rejecting victim mentality. Life will hit you, betray you, hurt you, and break you. Low-value people stay broken forever. High-value people rise, rebuild, and come back stronger. They turn pain into power, suffering into lessons, heartbreak into discipline, and loss into fuel. Every scar becomes armor. Every mistake becomes wisdom. Every failure becomes a foundation. High-value people are forged in fire, not comfort. They don't hide their wounds, they use them to grow. The 11th sign is authenticity. Most people act like copies. They talk like everyone else, dress like everyone else, think like everyone else, afraid to be different. A high-value person is unapologetically themselves. They speak honestly, they think independently, they follow their own path, even if no one understands at first. Authenticity is rare because it requires courage. The world attacks what it cannot label, but the same world eventually admires those who refuse to fit in. The 12th sign is self-improvement. A high-value identity is never finished. It evolves, improves, sharpens. You raise your standards. You improve conversation, posture, health, mindset, hygiene, finances, emotional intelligence, knowledge. Every area of life levels up. You do not need to be perfect, just better than yesterday. Small improvements create a powerful identity. When you know you are growing, confidence becomes natural. The 13th sign is boundaries. A high-value person does not let everyone have access to them. Their time is limited, their energy is valuable, and only those who bring respect and positivity are allowed near. They are kind, but not weak, helpful, but not used, caring, but not controlled. They say no without guilt. They walk away without fear. They protect their peace like it is sacred. The 14th sign is the ability to control reactions. When someone insults them, they don't explode. When someone provokes them, they don't respond. When life goes wrong, they don't panic. Calm is a superpower. Silence is a weapon. Composure is royalty. The world expects you to break. Real power is staying unbothered. And finally, the highest sign of a high-value identity is knowing that you are building yourself for you, not to impress others. When you improve your mind, you give yourself power. When you improve your health, you give yourself strength. When you improve your skills, you give yourself opportunity. When you improve your life, you give yourself freedom. Confidence is not about proving others wrong. It is about proving to yourself that you were always capable of becoming someone extraordinary. And one day, without announcing it, without bragging, without seeking attention, you will walk into a room and people will feel your presence. They won't know your story. They won't know your struggles. They won't know the nights.
Confidence continues to grow when you train your mind to stop giving power to opinions. Because the truth is that most people who judge you have never built anything themselves, never risked anything, never attempted anything. And a person who has nothing going for their life will always be loud about the lives of others. Once you understand this, a new mindset forms inside you. The opinions of those who do not push themselves hold zero value. You would never take financial advice from someone who is broke, relationship advice from someone who has never loved, or life advice from someone who has never lived. Yet people take confidence advice from those who are too scared to even raise their voice in a room. So the first rule of becoming mentally untouchable is this: if you wouldn't trade lives with someone, don't trade their opinion for your peace. The second rule is learning to detach emotionally from everything that is outside your control. You cannot control what people think, say, believe, assume, or invent about you, but you can control how much of your soul you give to their thoughts. The moment you stop reacting, their words lose value. Silence is not weakness. Silence is power. Every time you refuse to explain yourself, you grow. Every time you ignore an insult, you grow. Every time you choose your goals over your ego, you grow. Mentally strong people don't argue with fools. They level up and let results speak. The third rule of becoming mentally untouchable is embracing discomfort on purpose. Confidence is not built through comfort. Confidence is built through exposure. If talking to people scares you, talk to more people. If failure scares you, fail faster. If showing your work scares you, post it without hesitation. The only way to defeat fear is to do the thing fear wants you to avoid. Every time you face fear, fear shrinks. Every time you avoid fear, fear grows. People think mentally strong individuals are born fearless, but mentally strong individuals simply destroy fear through repetition. The fourth rule is to stop chasing perfection. Perfectionism is a prison disguised as a standard. Perfection keeps people silent, keeps them waiting, keeps them planning but never executing. You will never feel ready, never feel perfect, never feel like your idea is flawless, so you might as well start now. Experience will shape you far more than planning ever will. You can sit in your room imagining confidence for 10 years and gain nothing. Or you can spend 1 month taking action and change your entire identity. Mentally untouchable people act, and then they improve. The fifth rule is to treat yourself like someone you are responsible for. If a friend needed help, you would push them to try, encourage them to continue, forgive them when they fail, and celebrate their attempts. But when it comes to yourself, you quickly blame, doubt, insult, and sabotage. Confidence grows when you talk to yourself like someone you care about. The voice in your head must stop being your enemy and start being your coach. When your thoughts are against you, your life becomes heavy. When your thoughts support you, your life becomes unstoppable. The sixth rule is building discipline, because discipline is confidence in slow motion. Every time you wake up early, train, study, practice, and push past your excuses, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than laziness. And discipline creates a quiet, unshakable confidence because you know you can rely on yourself. People with no discipline always doubt themselves because deep down they know they cannot trust their own word. People with discipline walk differently because they know they are becoming dangerous, skilled, focused, and ready for whatever life throws at them. The seventh rule is learning to use solitude correctly. Weak minds hate being alone because silence forces them to face their thoughts. Strong minds use solitude as a weapon. They think, reflect, train, learn, and repair themselves. Confidence grows when you are comfortable being alone, because when you no longer fear solitude, you no longer cling to people who treat you badly. You stop tolerating low-quality friendships, disrespect, fake support, and energy-draining environments. You become selective. You stop wasting time. Your circle becomes small but powerful. The eighth rule is controlling your attention. People waste their confidence by comparing themselves to others instead of comparing themselves to who they were yesterday. Social media makes people feel behind, untalented, or insignificant. But comparison is the thief of confidence. Mentally untouchable people focus on their lane. They don't need to be better than anyone else. They just need to continue improving themselves. The ninth rule is detaching your self-worth from outcomes. You will fail. You will be rejected. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. The difference between strong minds and weak minds is simple. Weak minds treat failure as proof they are not enough. Strong minds treat failure as progress, data, and feedback. If you can fail without losing enthusiasm, you become unstoppable, because 99% of the world quits at the first sign of discomfort. The 10th rule is knowing who you are and what you stand for. When you know your values, you do not need approval. When you know your goals, you do not waste time. When you know your standards, you do not tolerate disrespect. When you know your purpose, you do not move like a follower. Most people have no identity because they spend their lives trying to become whatever others want. But mentally strong people define themselves. They do not borrow identities from society. The 11th rule is mastering emotional control. Anyone can be confident when life is easy. Real confidence is remaining calm when everything is falling apart. You stop shouting, stop overreacting, stop letting anger or sadness destroy your logic. Emotional control is a superpower, because the person who stays calm controls the situation. The 12th rule is embracing responsibility instead of blaming the world. The moment you stop saying, "It's not my fault," you take your power back. If life is in your control, life can be changed. If everything is someone else's fault, your life can never improve. Mentally untouchable people don't wait for saviors. They fix their own problems, build their own opportunities, and carry their own weight. And finally, the 13th rule: build a life you are proud of. Confidence is not just mindset. Confidence is evidence. When you have skills, when you grow every day, when you work on your body, when you sharpen your mind, when you learn something new, when you discipline your habits, when you keep promises to yourself, you develop a confidence that cannot be broken by anyone's comment, criticism, rejection, or insult. People cannot shake someone who knows exactly who they are and what they are becoming. And one day, you will look back and realize the version of you who was scared, insecure, shy, silent, and controlled by opinions no longer exists. You replace them with someone bold, someone disciplined, someone strong, someone confident, not because the world changed, but because you did. And the person you become through this transformation is someone who does not wait for approval, who does not fear judgment, who does not break under pressure, and who finally, truly owns their life.
There comes a moment in life when you realize the greatest prison you ever lived in was the fear of what other people might think. And the second that fear dies, your entire world expands. Because the truth is, judgment has no real power unless you give it power. And most people never learn this, so they spend their entire lives worshiping the opinions of strangers, bending themselves into shapes that don't fit, hiding their personality, silencing their voice, wearing masks to seem acceptable, and killing their potential just to avoid someone else's laughter. Being judged is inevitable, but being controlled by judgment is a choice. And the day you understand that is the day you become mentally untouchable. The reality is simple. You only fear judgment from people you secretly believe are above you. And the moment you realize they are not, the fear disappears. The person you're scared of has insecurities too. The person whose opinion you fear has failures too. The person who acts confident is pretending to. No one is as powerful as your mind makes them. You shrink yourself because you imagine others are giants. But in reality, they are just as human as you, flawed, uncertain, scared, insecure, and fragile. The loudest judges are the weakest people alive because confidently successful people don't spend their time tearing others apart. Anyone who mocks you, doubts you, or laughs at you is showing you their character, not your weakness. Judgment is a mirror. It reveals the person judging, not the person being judged. Once you understand this, insults become meaningless, criticism becomes noise, opinions become irrelevant. You stop taking things personally because you realize everyone speaks from their own fears and limitations. If someone calls you stupid, it doesn't mean you are. It means they value intelligence and feel insecure about their own. If someone calls you weird, it means you are different, and different threatens people who live boring, repetitive lives. If someone calls you cringe, it means you dare to be authentic in a world where everyone else is terrified. If someone doubts your dreams, it is because your ambition exposes their laziness. Every judgment says more about them than it ever will about you. And here's the secret mentally strong people understand. Judgment only hurts when you secretly agree with it. If someone insults you in a language you don't understand, it has zero emotional effect. If someone calls you short and you don't care, the insult falls flat. That means the only reason judgment affects you is because there is a part of you that believes it. The solution is not to silence the world. The solution is to strengthen yourself so much that the world's words cannot enter you. Build your skills, sharpen your mind, strengthen your body, discipline your habits, and suddenly no one's opinion matters because you have evidence that you are growing. Judgment loses power when you know your value. The next step to becoming immune to judgment is to accept that no matter what you do, someone will dislike it. If you talk, they will say you talk too much. If you stay silent, they will say you are boring. If you try, they will say you are trying too hard. If you don't try, they will call you lazy. Humans judge from habit, not truth. So trying to live in a way that avoids judgment is like trying to stay dry during a rainstorm by running in circles. You waste energy and get wet anyway. Freedom begins when you stop running. Let them judge, let them talk, let them think. Their opinions cannot change your life unless you stop living it. The next step is to practice indifference, because indifference is stronger than anger or revenge. Anger shows you care, revenge shows you're affected. Silence shows power. When you stop reacting, people lose their ability to influence your emotions. You become emotionally bulletproof. A person who cannot be emotionally manipulated becomes dangerous, because no insult, gossip, or rumor can shake their identity. People judge loudest when you are rising, because your growth threatens their comfort. Average people want you predictable, stuck, and easy to understand. The moment you grow, you make them uncomfortable. Instead of improving themselves, they judge you. Let them. Their judgment is proof that you are evolving. Another truth, judgment is temporary, but regret is permanent. The fear of being judged lasts minutes. The regret of not living your life lasts forever. One embarrassing moment will not destroy you, but a lifetime of hiding will. You will forget the comment that scared you, but you will never forget the dreams you didn't chase because someone might have laughed. Live boldly, even if your voice shakes. The world respects the person who tries more than the person who hides. And remember, people judge based on information they invent. They judge with 1% of your story and assume they know the rest. Let them. You do not need to correct every misunderstanding. You do not need to explain every decision. You do not need to justify your path. You are not responsible for making others comfortable with your growth. The next level of confidence comes when you no longer rush to defend yourself. Let people think you are wrong. Let them underestimate you. Let them doubt you. The silence will hurt them more than any argument, because silence means you are too focused on becoming great to care about opinions. Live in such a way that your success makes their judgments meaningless. And here's what will happen. One day, the same people who judged you will pretend they always supported you. Their tone will change, their attitude will change, their respect will suddenly appear. Not because they understand you, but because the results forced them to. People don't believe in you until you win. And once you win, they claim they always did. Do not live for these people. Live for the version of yourself that would be proud you kept going. Live for the dreams that will die if you don't move. Live for the future that depends on your courage. When you realize you are the only one who has to live with your decisions, something inside you shifts. You prioritize your life instead of their opinions. And in that moment, judgment becomes air, present but unable to hurt you. That is freedom, walking into rooms without shrinking, speaking without trembling, creating without asking permission, living without apology, and understanding that the world will talk regardless, so you might as well live as yourself.